not the internet breaking, just breaking news. All kinds of things are happening here today. And Bob, I just can't catch up. Why don't you take this segment and I'll leave?
And you'll leave?
Yeah, I'll go do
you have
other
to write
things.
something up, or you have to?
Eventually, I got to write this up. But yeah, we'll get
read.
to that. I'll ad-lib it through the rest of the morning and then write it up and get it posted online here this morning. It is Indiana in the Morning on WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, WCCSradio.com. I'm going to show you a picture on my phone. I could hold it up to the camera for everybody else to see, but I'm not going to do that. Well, where did it go? I thought it would be right here.
Yes, when you go to try to find something like that, it disappears.
I know.
Isn't that?
What is that all
And you
about?
had it right there before.
Our visit with Bob Pollock this morning is presented by Marcus & Mack, voted best law firm and best personal injury lawyer 3 years in a row on the Best of Indiana County contest. Visit them online at marcusandmack.com. I am not finding this picture, and I really, really wanted to show it to you because it was pachysandra.
Oh.
And the possibility of using it as a ground cover. Pros and cons.
Oh, well, has been very commonly used as a ground cover for decades. Between pachysandra and ivy, myrtle, those were really two go-to ground covers that have been used extensively over the years, and still are, and still can be very effective ground covers. They help. They've got some seasonal interest, especially myrtle will flower in the spring, so you get a little bit of a flower cover there, a little bit of change up, something look good, and then of course it's green the rest of the year. But it can really, both of those, when well established, can help keep weeds down. Essentially they perform those jobs as ground covers to shade the soil, which will help in keeping, weeds from germinating. Not all of them, but, once they get grown in and dense and shading the soil, then they can be pretty effective at that. And over time, you've got to go in there, and because there's always weed seeds flowing around, and they'll get down in there and start up.
Can you plant other ornamentals in among pachysandra? Do people do that?
Oh, yeah.
They do that?
Yeah, they'll have beds, and then you might have, you could have bulbs in there for spring interest, and then you can have other shrubbery. Oftentimes there'll be, instead of having bark mulch around a tree, they'll have, or in a, if a tree's in, several trees in a bed, you'll have, the trees there, and then that ground cover around them.
Yeah.
And and then that helps you stay away from the tree. Sometimes we get into trouble with weed eaters and tree trunks. We get too close, and we
How damaging is that?
Well, it can be very damaging. It can have a girdling effect, meaning it can damage the living cells that are there, especially on thinner bark trees, younger trees. We can do a lot of damage with a string trimmer, because you let that string gets up and it actually touches the trunk and beats on it, and that can cause damage. So, with the ground cover there, you're staying away from it, and so is the lawnmower and all of that. And it can be a replacement for grass. To an extent.
Is it something, I'm speaking specifically of pachysandra, is that something that naturally spreads, and therefore if you want to keep it out and keep it from really expanding and taking over the lawn or wherever it is planted, you have to put a physical barrier in there?
You don't necessarily, you have your bed edge. If you maintain the edge of the bed, you'll keep it in check. They're going to go along the top of the ground, make new stems, so they can repair themselves as well as continue to expand. But both those are very easily maintained in a whatever shape you want them to be in.
There's the picture. It was actually not in my text. It was in my email.
Ah, there it is. Okay.
And that's pachysandra, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little
beautiful.
hard to tell.
It's a really a beautiful bloom.
Yeah, and it's a lighter colored. It's a little bit lighter colored. It can be a little more of a, I don't know, lime green sometimes. It can be darker green. It can be a little lighter green, have a little tinge of yellow in there. The difference between myrtle, pachysandra, and then, for instance, English ivy, which is also commonly used as a ground cover, is that it has little tendrils on it, and it will attach to things and climb.
Pachysandra does?
No,
myrtle.
English ivy,
English ivy, okay.
because it's another commonly used ground cover. But it will climb. It'll climb walls. There's people that have, the whole one side of their house
Covered
it's
in
a wall of ivy.
Yeah.
Because its stems make little roots, and they attach, and they can really attach. That can be a disadvantage of that particular ground cover.
Yeah.
It vines out, does well, but it can be a little bit more creeping or invasive.
Is that what
and
covers?
You have to really keep after that if you don't want it growing up a tree trunk or growing up the side of the house. I mean, it will literally.
Is that what they have at Wrigley Field? What kind of ivy
it
do
might
they
be.
have
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might be that. Yep.
English ivy.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well,
so a lot of, there's a lot of. It really can look nice. It can take up space. It can be a good on a bank. A lot of you can use it on flat areas, but you can use it on banks as well. So it can be.
So you're not mowing that bank.
You're
it's
not
covered with pachysandra.
Yeah, you've got safety things there. You've got soil. Just holding the soil.
Soil retention. Yeah.
Right, because you've got a plant growing there, roots, so we have less chance of erosion. It limits your maintenance expense, time and expense on banks to have a ground cover, either one of those ground covers on a bank.
All right. I wanted to ask you about that because I saw a patch of it at a house, and I thought, that's really nice. I don't know what that is, and my wife found it and said, that's what that is. And it really is. I thought it was really, really pretty.
Yeah. And it is. And it serves very good functions and is a very good option for, right, and you plant, you buy the plants to get started, or you can, if you have somebody that has a lot of it, you can get clumps of it and plant the clumps. Usually when you're planting plants, it's like 8 inches on center.
And just let it do its thing.
Typically and then it will fill in from there and go. Pachysandra has a couple, there's a couple leaf blights that can affect that, but overall, especially considering how much it's been used over time, it still hangs in there and does a very good job.
Yeah. All right. Hey, it's fair season. Of course, it has arrived. The Dayton Fair happening this week. The other fairs are coming very, very soon. Also, Ag Progress season at Penn State. Did you go this year?
That was just Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday this week.
And you went?
Weather was pretty good for that. Usually, we can just about guarantee one of those events that it's going to rain one day or something for that. It was nice to have a little bit of rain here, get a little bit of relief.
Yeah.
I know I collected an inch
really
in my gauge, and it was the nighttime rain that did it, not
that's the best
early
kind.
Morning. Yeah. And talking to a couple other people that had at least that much or an inch and a quarter or so. It was a little bit spotty, but nonetheless.
What did you find
very
exciting
helpful.
at Ag Progress Days?
There's always so much to see and do there.
There's a lot of progress at Ag Progress Days.
Yeah. There's because they always have. Of course, they're always highlighting various research on it all across agriculture. The demonstrations that they have, so you can see equipment working. It's not just sitting there. Of course, there's a lot of equipment that just is sitting there on display that you can look at. But that's been a good thing to see over time, is seeing those actual machines functioning can.
Yeah.
you get both sight and see it how it works, and then you can make decisions about whether that'll
Did you buy
fit
anything?
into your no. And of course,
You
one of
drive
the
a new
big tracks-
combine home.
yeah. Yeah, you have 250, 300,000, maybe more to spend on a piece of equipment.
Zipping down to 80 in your combine.
Yeah.
Well, Ag Progress Days, fair season. It's we're about to turn a corner here.
Oh
aren't
my, yep.
we? Yep. you
Once we
betcha.
hit this time, now we're moving into
Getting toward harvest time.
should be the days are starting to be shorter, and hopefully the nights will be a little bit cooler. As things finish up in your garden, now is a real good time to think about cover crops. As you have crops that are done, you don't have to wait till the whole garden's done. But if you, like rye is a very common grain that's used because it'll overwinter, but you can start to plant that, August into September.
Barley too.
Yep, and you can get a cover crop growing, which will eventually add nutrients to the soil as well as shade the soil, prevent some weed growth, and then ultimately add some organic matter.
There you
So
go.
now's we can start thinking about or even sowing some of that in the garden.
Yeah. And it's
For
canning
future
season,
benefits.
all of those wonderful things.
Yes, that too.
Thank you, Bob.
You're welcome.
It is the voice of Indiana County. It's WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, and WCCSradio.com. Fox Sports coming, or Fox News coming up next. Then Josh from the WCCS Newsroom.